Now, in order to download the database, you will need a compatible transfer drive.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Deltabase, the show where I sit down and chat with other Transformers creators and discuss their personal journeys with the franchise and what they're up to in the creative space. Today, we're speaking with a creator you all know well by this point. So, whether it's through their Transformers Prime AMVs or extensive character breakdowns and story retrospectives, you've seen their work before. Welcome to the show, Emperor Kumquat.
Sorry, I just feel so honored by that. It was so cute.
No, you're good.
You're like, everybody knows you. And I'm like, do they?
Oh yeah,
It'd be
absolutely.
nice if they did.
I feel like I can respectfully and easily say that if anybody is here watching my channel, then they know your work because you're much bigger, and a lot of my work is inspired from what you've done on YouTube. So
Oh.
there's no way that they don't know who you are.
Oh my God. I'm just
They
going to
may
be
not
laughing out of shyness this whole interview.
they may not know your AMV videos. That might be a little bit back there for them, even though it was just 6 years ago we were talking about, which is insane. That 6 years ago was pretty much COVID when you first started making those videos.
And you know what? Some people think like I was doing it because I was so bored during COVID, but I actually was starting it. And then COVID happened. My first, video that was really popular was the Starscream discussion video, and I made that to spite my boyfriend at the time. He was like, "Starscream's not abused." And I was like, "Oh, yeah? I can write a whole essay about it." And so I did, but I didn't even have a microphone then, so I recorded it on my phone. So
Yeah.
the audio was super bad.
Oh, well, we all have to start somewhere. There's I have long since told some of my viewers that you can still find some of my videos that I made almost 10 years ago out on the internet. You just have to look for it. Nobody's come back. Maybe I should put a bounty on it, but nobody's come back with any of it yet. Thankfully, it's all safe content.
Oh, not Transformers, I guess?
No. I came from the Lego community. It sounds like I was born within the Lego community. That's where I
was
started.
born surrounded by Legos.
I was born with claw hands, no fingers.
Oh,
It was hard
no.
to pick things up. Oh, well. So, Emperor, you had your roots here on YouTube, like we talked about, firmly planted in the Transformers Prime community, albeit after the show had aired and ended. But I wanted to kind of pick your brain real quick and ask you what it was like building a community around that show back, around COVID time.
Well, it was interesting because I didn't intend to become like the Transformers Prime YouTuber. I was just putting out some video essays of ideas I had that nobody else had really talked about before. Like the Viacon one is what really
Mhm.
got people's attention because I was watching this show like over and over as one does, and sometimes, like, it was obvious that the Viacons had sparks, right? Like, even Megatron
Mhm.
uses no, sorry, the Autobots use the spark extractor and kill a bunch of Viacons. I'm like, "Okay, so if they all have souls, then they're all, like, people, right?" And I just wanted to say that, and people really sprang on that idea, and back then, my profile picture wasn't even a Viacon, so it kind of became my identity. I was, like, the Viacon guy.
You were the Viacon leader. This is something actually
Yeah.
that I recently brought up with uh, co-hosts of mine on that podcast I was talking about, Teletran Tapes, where we were talking about the current comic book run and how I personally prefer that they're using named characters for the Decepticons and not using drones. And that brings up a great point. I think we all understand why drones are used, especially when it comes to the the amount of money it takes to create a show.
Yes.
What are your overall thoughts though on this idea? Because we see it in Transformers One as well recently in theaters. Like this idea of, well, they're just mindless drone characters that they don't count as murder.
Uh, yeah, I think I liked at least in oh my gosh, what was it? Rise of the Beasts, where they just have like a random army to fight at the end just for the sake of action. But I didn't mind it so much in Transformers Prime.
Mhm. Right.
It was
Optimus has
just like a
gotta kill
feature.
someone. Yeah.
It was just like the Decepticons had them and they mined for Energon and they were always there. It was just a part of the Nemesis. It wasn't just like a random one-time thing. And yeah, it's expensive to animate so many characters, so I understand.
I often think that when I look back at Transformers Prime, which played a huge pivotal role in my life when it first aired. What what are your thoughts on it? I feel like there's a lot of people these days now kind of retroactively looking at Transformers Prime in the past, and they may be a little more judgmental than they first were. But what what are your thoughts on the people who criticize it for looking bland or looking kind of? I mean, it takes place in a pretty flat area.
Well, the humans look like Play-Doh, so they are very ugly humans, but the bots themselves, I still don't think they look so bad.
Agent Fowler doesn't look that bad though.
No, he's the best looking
Right,
human,
he's
but if I
perfect.
look at Jack's face, though, is so bad. I can't. I can't. And sometimes, the backgrounds are like the desert and stuff. They're kinda like how Beast Wars was animated. Is like, not that good, but I'm never so judgmental on the looks because if the story is good enough, I'll go with it. Like, I like Beast Wars for the most part. And it is also really cursed that sometimes, like with the human children, like the pre-human children is so ugly, but I don't mind. What else could we say? Like people do criticize Transformers Prime right now, but even I do that. I made like a half-hour video just criticizing it because people are like, "Oh, you think Transformers Prime is perfect? You don't see its flaws." I'm like, "No, no, no. I know all the flaws because I have watched it more than anybody else. My God, I know all the flaws." But I mean, sometimes you only see the little story errors when you've watched something so many times. If the
Mhm.
casual viewer just sees it one time, they're not going to notice all those things. So it's not that bad. It might only seem that way if you come in there with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, there's too much a Viacon murder is basically what you're saying. Unjustified Viacon murder.
Sometimes it is pretty unjustified. Those Autobots can be so mean. Like the Vehicons are already down and they'll kill them. Or there's like Wheeljack, or maybe it was Makeshift, was like pulling arms off Viacons and whacking them with their arms, and I'm like, "Why
Yes.
are you doing this?"
Yes, yeah.
It's
Or they
crazy.
become the fodder for the virus on the Nemesis. I'm
That's my
blanking on the
favorite episode. It's
yeah.
Thirst. That kind of stuff is why Transformers Prime is my favorite show, is I love dark stuff like zombies. I love it. So, yeah.
Well, it's also where we get a little glimpse of Starscream and Knockout's potential.
Yes, wasted
Forward thinking.
potential.
Yes, potential. I'm not even sure what to say, but
Uh
potential. We all know.
Do
Something that
we,
I
or do
wish
I
they would
have
do
to
more
talk
often.
about, like, how they ruined it in Predacons Rising?
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there. Okay, okay. I
I've
wait.
I've I've been asked by a few commenters on my channel if I would do a retrospective video on Transformers Prime. And I've been tempted here and there, but at the same
Mm.
time I'm like, just go watch Emperor Kumquat. They cover it all. I've got nothing new to say that
Oh,
they
no, you
haven't
can make your
said.
own videos.
Yeah, but if I
You
did,
can
I would end up just calling you and say, "Hey, could you cameo in this video?" And then I would just give you the whole
No!
script.
Oh my god, no, that's not good.
Well, well, you
Okay, you can do
cover.
what I do.
Oh,
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
If I want to talk about a subject, for example, like Transformers One, I refuse to watch anybody's videos until I've made my own. That way, I know all my ideas are my ideas. So
That's
if you
fair.
want to talk about Transformers Prime, do not look at my stuff. Just make your video, and
Oh,
then
it's
you
too
can look
late.
at my stuff. No.
It's too late.
Ugh. Okay.
Uh, well, you have covered and you do cover more than just Transformers Prime on your channel. And so, what has been the most significant piece of Transformers media besides Transformers Prime uh, that you have experienced for yourself and then also for your content?
I would say Transformers, like IDW 2005, those comics. Um, one of my top videos of all time is like the saddest Starscream story of all fans may cry, which was really a summary of Spotlight Megatron. I just thought it was like a really interesting short story, and I wanted to share it with people. And they really liked that. And I don't talk enough about IDW because I wanted to reread it and really get to know it before I make bigger videos about it. I also did like a couple in a minute videos talking about characters like Sunder Freud, Overlord Japan, Tarn,
All
like
the
the
best
really
characters.
popular. Yeah, More Than Meets the Eye is of course like the most popular with like the younger teenage or 20s demographic. Out of all the IDW 2005 comics, like that's what people focus on because the characters are really fun.
Do you feel like that continuity, the 2005 IDW comics, do you feel like they've kind of been maybe left behind or forgotten due to their I wouldn't say it's not impossible to collect them. You can still read them. But they're not as available anymore.
No, they're not. Like, I was in the middle of collecting those giant volumes, like the complete
Oh
collection
yeah. The
series. Have you seen?
hardbacks.
And they stopped making them. You have to like find used copies, right? And they're so expensive. I only need two more to complete the whole collection, but each time I see them on eBay, they're like $500 American
Oof.
each. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I will do it, but not right now. I'm 2 books away from completing it. But otherwise, like, if I'm making a video, I just go online and take screenshots of what I need.
You had a video a little while ago about Transformers Earthspark and kind of Starscream's life after the abuse of Megatron, and it was based around this scene with a character named Hashtag talking to Starscream about opening up and uh, being honest about what had happened, what had transpired in Starscream's life. This was a really important video that I think about often, but I wanted to ask you if you feel like because of many different things around Earth Sparks, do you feel that that aspect of the show is not talked about or thought about enough?
Oh, well, I've seen Tumblr. It's definitely talked about and thought about a lot. Oh my gosh. I have opinions on Earthspark, which is why I made that video. A lot of people have seen that one. Is like season 1 Starscream was given a lot of development.
Hmm.
A lot of the Decepticons were. And then season 2 comes and it's just all thrown in the garbage. It
Mm.
is super frustrating. I thought this was gonna be the first time we would have an actual, like, redeemable Starscream,
Hmm.
and one that we could feel sorry for because I know the Tumblr people and the fan fiction writers, they have always wanted, like,
To feel sorry.
yeah, they wanna feel sorry for Starscream, they want him to be healed, people to, like, pat him on the head like, "There, there, it'll be okay." So, I thought, "Okay, they know what the fandom wants, they're gonna give us what we want." No, they did not. They just made him, like, irredeemably evil. I know some
Right.
people will still wanna try to redeem him in their fan fictions, but the fact that he, like spoiler, like, kills 2 children robots while, like, laughing about it, it's like, "Okay, the line's been crossed. We can't redeem him now."
Yeah.
Why
How
I don't know why they did that, though. Sorry.
No, you're good. How how important do you think it is, especially in media that is more focused towards a younger audience? I'll say kids. a younger audience, how important do you think it is that those types of stories be told? You know, that story of Starscream kind of accepting uh, the abuse that has occurred in his life.
Oh, this maybe you've seen, but I made like a short of
Hmm.
hashtag talking to Starscream.
Yeah, that's the video I'm
And
referencing here.
yeah, no, I do believe in that video. Some people were in the comments being like, man, kids don't need to hear that. But she said something like, if bad things are happening to you, you should like tell somebody, something along those lines.
Hmm.
And if you are not raised in an abusive household, this seems like common sense. But
Right.
like I've known people who grew up abused, and this was not common sense. They didn't know they could tell people. They thought it was just that's just how life is. So
Hmm.
these messages are so important to tell kids. So if their parents don't tell them, the cartoon tells them, and maybe they can get help.
I love that video that you made. You know, it was very important to me to see a creator stand up and say that this is important because I too have seen people. I have not watched through all of Earthspark yet. It is on my list to watch through, and I'm very well aware of the different things that people don't like about it. But it made me so happy to see someone say, "No, this is really important that this is in, you know, a cartoon, a TV show, whatever type of media that is aimed at a younger audience." And I do agree that I looked at the comments and there were people that were just like, "No, you got to get this, you know, garbage or whatever. You know, you don't need to be talking to kids like this." And it's just such a disappointment, at least in my mind, of why would you not want a healthy message like that move towards, especially when you go back and look at Generation 1. Generation 1 has some ideas like that too. You know, it's not something new. At least I don't think in my mind it is.
One of the messages I liked of G1 was something about Optimus saying the world was built on dreams, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love messages that inspire or help or teach. Like I do like Rescue Bots too, and Rescue
Oh,
Bots
yes.
Academy. They have useful stuff in them. So I am a full supporter of children's Transformers shows because
Yeah.
those shows are really good and they teach kindness and even like simple things. For example, Rescue Bots Academy, there was an episode where one of the kid robots he thinks he's having bad luck and that's
Mhm.
why he's failing. So Cody gives him like a duck and he's like, this duck will give you like luck and you will do good. And so the kid robot believes it. And then he loses the duck. But the lesson was that he has the power inside himself to be successful. He doesn't need
Mhm.
an item or anything.
Right.
I love that kind of stuff. We need like the wholesome stuff and the good messages. And our Spark did go deeper than that and touch on abuse, which is a real thing that kids
Mhm.
experience. So it should be in there.
And I love rescue bots. I have and will defend rescue bots till the day I die. There are so many people who I've encountered who are like, "Well, it's a kids show. It can't be that good." And I'm like, come back here. Let's
uh,
sit down and have a chat." Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know, if that's what you're gonna say, it's a kids show, then that's all of Transformers, is it not? Is
I did,
Transformers not
yeah,
kid coded?
it is. I even made a video saying like Transformers is for kids, but like that's okay. What's wrong with liking kids stuff, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I made a video earlier on when I started making content here on YouTube for Transformers, and I thought I was being kind of I thought I was being a little smart in the titling of my video to be not clickbait but engaging to have people go, "Oh, I want to watch this video."
What
And
was the title?
the title was something like "Who is Transformers for?" And the thumbnail said
Mm,
everyone. And so the thumbnail kind of answers it. And the video is maybe like, I don't know, 6, 7 minutes long. And it's me talking about that. Yeah, you know, people want to say, well, it's just for kids, but it's really for everyone. There's something there for
mhm,
everybody. And I really
mhm.
thought I really thought I would get away with it. But there were so still to this day, there's so many comments going, actually you're wrong. It's for everybody. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's what the thumbnail says. It literally says that. And that's
Classic
what I say. Yeah,
YouTube. That's
I
why I
said that.
rarely look at my comments. Oh my god. People,
Yeah,
like, they don't read, like, the thumbnail, the title, they don't watch. Oh my god.
yeah,
Jeez, I made a huge video saying, like, how much I love the writing of Transformers 1. It was called, like, Where D16 Went Wrong, and it was
yeah.
a whole, like, summary of his spiral into evil and how well written that was, and then some
Yes.
comment be like, "Oh, you're always so negative." I'm like, "What do you mean? This entire video is me saying how good the writing was."
Yes. Yeah.
They must have, like, just misinterpreted the title when I said, like, "went wrong."
Yeah.
I meant, like, how he as a character
Went
went down
wrong.
the wrong path and
Right.
hurt his friends and that he was wrong to do that. I wasn't trying to be clickbait, but people are like, "Oh, here's Emperor Kumquat complaining about something again."
Right. Yeah.
No.
What do you feel like is a good balance between, a show like Transformers Prime, which is more serious. It has its moments of levity, but I think it's a little more serious. And the goofier side of Transformers like Generation 1 where Optimus Prime is just playing hoops all of a sudden out of nowhere. Do you think that Transformers thrives better on either side?
I think we could just have some shows be serious, some shows be sorry, you might have to cut something. My cat is here meowing
Oh,
beside
you're okay.
me. Yeah,
No
I don't know
worries.
if you heard, it's my parents' cat, Snickers. She can be pretty loud. Let me think about that question for, she does look like Snickers. She has, like, a caramel color. So, I mean, I can take a picture after, and her eyes kinda go in different directions. So I say she has the Transformers Prime Megatron eyes. I'm always like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
have Megatron eyes."
I
She's
I never
very
thought of it
cute.
that way, but you're right. It is very true. Oh.
Yeah. Now
But no, yeah,
talking about
what
s yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, let me, like, formulate an answer here. I gotta think about this because I don't know if we've had, like, a pure serious show, unless that's what the War for Cybertron trilogy was going for. There are shows that are darker, but they'll put in some humor, like, in Thirst, it was like, zombie vampires," but then, like, Knockout's running funny, and he has an awkward moment with Starscream, and it was a good balance.
Yeah.
It was what we wanted to see. And it's also necessary to have those kids shows too, which are they can be really silly. The start of Cyberverse was super silly. To the fact, like, I even thought as an adult it was cringe, but season 3 was not cringe. Started off dark and then it got silly again. But I liked that silly, and those movies for Cybertron, or sorry, Cyberverse movies were really funny and crazy, and something about Triptychon and having a good dentist or something. It was really weird.
I feel like Cyberverse
And
gets
yeah.
a little too much hate. I really enjoy it. I think it's a fun show.
Mhm. The
Yeah.
season 3 beginning was really shocking for me. I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy crap, this is good."
Yeah. I
The
feel like it
Quintesson takeover.
it felt like a love letter to so many different Transformers fans because they were adding in so many I mean, Wreck and Ruin was in there
Mhm.
at one point. I remember seeing that being like,
Yeah.
"What? What, they're gonna
Yeah,
put
Rack
him
and
in?"
Ruin, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And they even, like, gender bent a few characters, which is, like,
I thought that was
good
fun.
franchise. So,
Yeah.
after that, Earthspark continued, like, Skywarp, for example. Skywarp
Mhm.
she, her now. Why not?
Yeah, no, I think I personally feel like Transformers thrives when they take the core aspects and mix it up. You don't have a lot
Mhm.
of well, maybe you do have other franchises I just can't think of, but the two big ones, or at least the one big one I think of is Star Wars. It's hey, everything has to fit within, these parameters. And there's some good things to that. But I don't know, I just feel like Transformers flourishes because there's always a new idea on the horizon.
Oh, and we almost forgot to talk about the comics, which on the whole are more for adults and dark,
Mhm.
but they are also hilarious, especially in More Than Meets the Eye. If you think of characters like Whirl and Swerve, they're
Oh,
they're for
yeah.
comedy all the time. But then at the same time, there's torture and death in those
Mutilation.
comics. You can have
Mhm.
both. I
Yeah.
I
Well,
liked both. Yeah.
don't forget when Scorponok was pregnant.
Oh. Okay, well, that's after More Than Meets the Eye. That was Lost Light. Things
Uh,
got a little funky there, but it was also really dark though in Lost Light because my God, Getaway was like
yep.
killing
Hmm.
Autobots left and right. And I tell you what, Lost Light was like the first thing I read out of IDW. I had
Oh
no
man.
context. It was like I didn't know they could get so violent in Transformers because I had come from watching cartoons to seeing
Yeah.
Getaway killing like comatose Autobots. It was
Yeah.
great.
Getaway is such a fantastic character that they really gave, a story to. And I remember early on when I say early on like this was years ago, but it was last year when I made a video on Getaway, just talking about how he was quote unquote the worst Autobot. That was just the title. The
Mhm.
most common comment that I got on that video that I still think about these
Uh-oh.
days is I did just a little bit of reading. I normally don't read word for word what's in the comic, but I read his speech about Megatron when he has the coup over the Lost
Mhm.
Light. And the most
Yeah.
common comment I got was people saying, "Your voice for Getaway is really good because I hate that guy." And I was sitting there like, "Wait, do they hate me?" And
Oh
then
my God, that's
somebody,
a
another
backhanded
creator, yeah,
compliment.
another creator said, "Hey, if I ever anytime I read that comic, I always think of your voice for Getaway." And I'm sitting there like, "Gee, thanks. That's
Were you
great."
doing a voice like reading? Were you reading
Nope.
like doing a dub, or you were just talking
No,
and they're like,
I was
"Hey, you sound like
I was
Getaway."
literally just talking, apparently.
No, you don't sound like a villain. And by the way,
Well,
I think James Roberts said he would have like a New Zealand accent. Are you
he
from New
did.
Zealand?
No, no, I'm not. And I did not attempt to do a New Zealand accent either, thank goodness. That would have been horrible. So kind of coming back to that question, do you think that Transformers flourishes? You're basically saying that Transformers flourishes with being able to have both.
For example, like I mentioned Whirl, who is
Hmm.
insanely popular. You go to TFCon, there's Whirl merch there, and he was from like
Really?
the 2012 comics, but there's still being fan art being made for him on Tumblr, for example. Like,
Hmm.
if he wasn't so quirky, he wouldn't be so popular, and therefore, More Than Meets the Eye wouldn't be so popular because people love um what was it, Rodimus and Whirl and all those guys who act
Yeah.
kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. People love that.
I have to agree with you that I think, Transformers flourishes with a good balance of the two. Something that I recall seeing when Transformers 1 came out was there were quite a few people, probably the vocal minority, saying that they were really disappointed with Shockwave in the movie because he wasn't this satanic megalomaniac, murderer like from the comics like he should be. And it made me kind of sit there and go, can you kind of read the room and see who this movie is for? How is that going to fit in there?
Uh,
Um,
it must be tough for new creators and Transformers because fans have expectations. They're like, Soundwave is this way, Shockwave is this way,
yes.
Starscream's like this. And if you try to
Yes.
do something different, you'll get hate for it. And some people will
Yeah.
like it, some people won't like it. But the
Yeah.
people who don't like it can be really mean about it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they're going to be the
Yeah.
ones that are the loudest, anyways, or at least the ones you
Hmm.
notice the most. Now, on top of all this, you're currently running a project that's basically a kind of a Transformers Prime follow up. It's a choose your own adventure game titled Mercy. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about that project.
Oh boy, and we were just talking about dark versus silly. Now it is pretty dark, but I also do like to write a bit of humor and fun characters. I know like the younger when I say younger, I don't mean kids. I mean teenage to 20s,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes 30s, that kind of range. Okay, let me make it more clear. It's like a fan-made sequel to Transformers Prime. It
Mm-hmm.
starts off with Predaking in front of Starscream on the throne of Darkmount, which happened at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the movie, and we don't quite know what happened to Starscream, and that plagued me when I was a 14-year-old who had just seen this. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Is he dead? Is he dead?" So, then I was like, what do people even want to happen to
Mm-hmm.
Starscream? Do they want him to be beat up a little bit? Do they want him to die? And so I started making up options to give people. And then it totally evolved into storylines as I wanted to keep talking about what's gonna happen to Cybertron now? Are Autobots and Decepticons gonna start coming home? Are the Decepticons going to accept, like, the Autobots saying, "Oh, your leader, he defected." They're gonna be like, "Bullshit, no, he didn't." So, that's what the story is kind of about. It's like the bots coming home, the Decepticons coming home, and there's tension and trying to rebuild, and Starscream might be running around doing things.
Mhm.
It's fun, but the story does start off with a very serious warning about the fact that there's torture, there's death, there's robot cannibalism, all that fun stuff.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. I love supernatural creatures. That's why I said I love the zombies of Transformers Prime. So
Mhm.
I did add some new supernatural creatures into the story.
How long have you been working on the project?
I kind of started in 2020. It was all on my own, just making up ideas and art scenes and writing out the first chapters. But then it started to really take off after I talked about it on my YouTube channel. I was like,
Mhm.
once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to start talking about my game. So that happened. I got some volunteer artists, and then I started paying artists, and I started writing full stories. And they're actually like readable right now on Archive of Our Own, and you can make the choices like you would in a Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure book.
How many people would you say, other than yourself, now work on that project?
About 100 artists at this point.
Oh, wow.
Oh, like a lot, especially because recently I'm like on Tumblr hunting
Mhm.
down new artists. If I see art that I like, I'll
Uh-huh.
slide into their DMs like, "Hey, do you do commissions? Can I commission you?" And some people know me and they're like, "Oh my god, Emperor Kumquat." One person was like, "I was hoping you would ask me," and I'm like, "Really? You could have just reached out to me." Oh,
See?
yes.
See, you are important.
And you know what? At TFCon, I have commissioned like Alex Milne or Andrew
Oh,
Griffith to draw some stuff for Mercy, like posters.
yeah.
And while they were drawing it, apparently other people were like, "Oh, is that like Emperor Kumquat's like Mercy there?" And I was like, "Oh my god, people are recognizing my art as famous Alex Milne and Andrew Griffith are drawing them. That's super cool."
That's wonderful. I was even just gonna kinda push forward and ask what has been the most rewarding experience or aspect to creating this game?
Oh, that one is very easy to answer. I got married because of this game. One of the
Really?
artists who came to volunteer with me, we became really good friends and now we're married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
because of
beautiful.
this game, we met each other and I've
Well
moved in with them. Yeah.
or is it because of the Starscream AMVs that you used to make?
Actually, you know what the first video they saw was on my channel? I believe it
What?
was the when Optimus became a train, like the war ended video. They saw that and it made them laugh, so they looked at my other videos and then they found Mercy. So, the Optimus becoming a train might be the reason I'm married.
That's such a beautiful story, I did not know that. Man, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Optimus Prime doing amazing things out there, getting people married.
Oh my god. And when I was, like, proposed to, my partner opens, like, a scrapbook that they made, and inside was a picture of that Optimus. It was like it all
Uh,
began with
that picture must be framed now and put on the
Oh
mantle.
my god. Yeah, mhm.
That way, anytime anybody comes by, they'll be like, "What is that photo of? Please sit down. Let us tell you the story.
Mhm.
Let us tell you the great story."
Yeah, so Transformers Mercy has been in production for, like, 5 or more years. It has 3 complete novels and about 1,000 pictures.
Wow.
It's big. If people look into it, it's really big. Um, but even if I never finish it, because it's super ambitious, I'll never regret it because it brought me my spouse.
That's a wonderful way of look. I was just about to ask if you thought you knew when it would be done, but that's not really even an important question anymore, just from what you said there.
It's a hard question to answer because I need art scenes in order to make the videos, so I need, like, a lot of artists, and, that can cost a lot of money, so the
Yeah,
more people who donate, the faster it will go. It could
yeah,
still be years off, but now that I'm starting to release videos, you can just follow along like episodes. I've like maybe there'll be a new episode every month.
wonderful. And where can people go to support?
I have Ko-fi and Patreon, but on Patreon, which is only $3, you can get early access to all the videos.
Normally, that that section of the show, the kind of plug section, hey, what are you working on? Where can people go? Is at the
Mhm.
very end, but it obviously was more important. That being said, now we can kind of round out into the end of the show here with a lightning round, which I'm sure is not
Ah,
nerve-wracking at
yes,
all.
the ones that you didn't give me the questions
I didn't
beforehand.
prompt you for it, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
So,
Okay, let's
it's just
go.
3 questions, and again, it's lightning, so, you know, don't be nervous, just the first thing that pops into your head is normally the true answer. You ready?
I wonder if it's like Transformers or if you're gonna ask me what other hobbies I have.
No, don't worry about that. We're sticking it with Transformers.
Okay.
All right. You could spend one day with any Transformers voice actor. Who would it be?
Steve Bloom or Steve Blum, however you say it, TFP Starscream. And you
Wonderful
know
choice.
what? He makes I've seen so many advertisements on YouTube about like he's has a voice acting course now.
Really?
Yeah.
That could be your way in. That
No,
could be
I'm
your
not
way
meant for
in.
voice acting. My voice is so hard to control.
You can only pick one, and the other one has to never happen.
Oh
Transformers
no.
Prime Season 4 or Transformers 2, a sequel to Transformers 1. We're just going to call it that.
Okay, I'll say Transformers Prime Season 4, and I hope they don't mess it up.
Would you prefer if it was the Season 3 that should have been
With the
with the Star
Starseekers?
Raiders? Yeah, Star Seekers. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I did really like the Predacons, and it was such a disappointment that they had to kill them off because the budget couldn't handle 20 new
20.
Predacons. But imagine, though, the show if it had that many Predacons, and maybe some of the Predacons became Autobots.
Last one. What has been the single item project on YouTube that you are the most proud of, disregarding any views or analytics? And I probably know the answer.
Oh, it's gonna be Transformers Mercy.
Mhm. You feel like you've learned a lot just through the process of making it?
Definitely, like, video editing and drawing, because I wanted to do this project so badly that I actually, like, bought the drawing pad and started learning how to
Oh, wow.
draw on like, Photoshop.
Mhm.
And, since I've improved, I've been redoing some of my old drawings.
And you got married. That's important too.
And I got very
That's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
I thought we were just talking about, like, the skills I developed because I was like, "Oh, man, I got so much better at drawing and so much better at writing as I've been doing this." So many positives and so many new friends too. I got to meet some of my artists in person at TFCon.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
recall. I'm pretty sure I watched, and it's been a while and I've forgotten. I'm pretty sure I watched. You were on a panel, weren't you, for one of the TF Cons?
Yeah, I think I've been on 2 now.
What has it been like, kind of becoming known on the internet as someone and being recognized? What has that been like?
I always did kind of want to be known in a fandom of some sort. When I was younger, I thought it would be anime. Just because when I write a story, for example, I put a lot of heart into it and a lot of research, whereas other fan fictions were just all like inappropriate, not safe
Schlock.
for work. And I was like, I can do
Yeah.
better than that. So,
Yeah.
really, my YouTube channel was built so that I could promote um, my true projects.
Hmm.
And it's really nice, having people love my work because it makes you wanna make more, right? It gives you,
Right.
like, encouragements. The only downside to being so well known is the more subscribers you have, I feel the more dehumanized you can be. you're
Mm.
just like a source of entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
and say like you get sick or something, or you just don't have the motivation, and people are like, "Where's the next video?" It's like, please,
Yeah.
I have a family,
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying
you
to
know.
survive.
Or people have the impression that you are more arrogant than you actually are, and so it
Yeah.
is really easy for people to take what you say in bad faith. Or sometimes they're very eager to be like, "I am the one who corrected this YouTuber because I know better than them." They're like,
Yes. Yeah.
"Oh, please
Yeah.
don't do that." Like, again, I don't really look at my comment section except for maybe the first day after I post a new video, because it can really drag you down. There's a lot of positive people out there. I've made so many friends by starting my Transformers YouTube channel, but there's a lot of negativity, and
Mm-hmm.
I've even been through some drama. So,
Uh-oh.
uh, unlike
Yeah.
Tumblr, because Tumblr can be really vicious. Like, if they will misinterpret your words if you're not careful. Some people just want to see you fall, so
Yeah.
it can be tough. But then it's really nice to get in calls with other creators like you, though.
Oh, thank you.
It,
Yeah,
like otherwise, like we wouldn't really know each other.
right. Well, thank you so much, Emperor, for being here on the show. Again, we can throw in a little section here for you to plug. Where can people go to see what you're working on?
Plug. Just put it on screen right now.
Put it on, plug it. Your channel and the new Transformers Mercy YouTube
A
channel.
picture of Snickers Megatron eyes. We'll include it. I'll send a picture. Her
Please.
eyes looking in different directions, and then I'll send a picture of Megatron.
It's the same picture.
And it's the same one.
Yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
picture. Emperor, thanks
Mm.
so much for being on the show. Thanks for chatting about all these
Yeah,
different
thanks for
topics.
having me. That was really fun. You got a lot of laughs out of me.
Well, good. And thank you everybody for watching yet another episode of Deltabase. I'll see you guys next month as we're talking with another Transformers creator who does video essays and things like that. You probably know who he is, but we'll just let you guys see who it is next time. Thanks for watching, and bye.
Bye, everybody.